I want to focus on your area of expertise. You came out swinging immediately upon this news that we had launched a
Subtle as always, I see.
Iran. Yes, no punches, saying that this was unjustified, unjustifiable, misbegotten, misguided. Why your initial reaction so strong?
So for several reasons. One, I did Desert Storm, and then I did Iraq One. So I often say I invaded Iraq twice under two different Republican presidents, and we know what has to happen as a lead up to war, and the justifications for it, and the legal justifications for it. Congress has all but walked away from their responsibility as being the co-equal branch of government. And for that reason, we've got Trump running amok. Now, I see the comments here. Oh, you're defending Iran. I'm not defending Iran. No one's defending Iran. No one's going to cry because Khomeini is dead. No one's going to ever deny that Iran hasn't been a major sponsor of terror and a destabilizing actor in the Middle East. That's without question. The question is, one, why now? And the manner in which we did it, is it justified by our law? What we needed to defend is our law, our Constitution. I'm defending our Constitution. Look, you can say all you want about George Bush, both George Bushes, but they did make their case to both the Congress, the United Nations before invading Iraq. We could agree whether or not they were right or not in the history, but the fact is they made their case. In this case, we're in the middle of the negotiations with the Iranians. The Omani foreign minister actually released that we are actually getting what we wanted, and then Israel came in and said, hey, Netanyahu said, hey, we're going to bomb. And then Mohammed bin Salman, okay, MBS himself said, I want you to bomb. So Trump got rid of the entire thing and went ahead and bombed. The entire case for making this invasion, making this attack is ridiculous. And of course, we have the shifting reasons for it. Every time something goes on camera is a different reason. They can't even decide if it's a war. Okay. And so again and again, I've been down this road before. The thing is, I know as a soldier of 22 years in the United States Army, is that the moment you fire a weapon, the moment you drop a bomb, all bets are off. There was canard in the military planning is the enemy gets a vote, and no good plan lasts first contact. And here we are now. It's obvious we were not ready. We had thousands of Americans stranded across the Middle East because not only did we not coordinate with our allies, which has probably led to the fact that 3 F-15s were shot down by our friends in Kuwait, okay? 3 F-15s and one firing from our ally, our ostensible ally. But not only that, we had soldiers in an unprotected command post that didn't have overhead cover. And so an Iranian drone took out a command post. That's where our 6 soldiers were killed. That's unacceptable. And now we've got thousands of Americans stranded across the Middle East, unable to be evacuated because, again, we did not plan or let anyone know we're going to do this. So again and again, what we're seeing is that Trump had no long-term plan. Even in his press conference just this morning, you can watch where Trump's saying it could be a worst case scenario. It could be somebody worse. They don't know. It literally is helter-skelter, chaos. And what bothers me the most especially is watching Pete Hegseth. Hegseth spent, if you remember, the last 2 weeks battling the Boy Scouts over DEI and the Ivy League colleges over letting our people attend. That's what Hegseth did. Then he did workout videos of the boys. He should have been coordinating with freaking Kuwait. He should have been doing his job. And instead, he was hanging out in D.C. doing videos from his office about DEI. I don't want the Secretary of Defense fighting DEI. I want the Secretary of Defense fighting our wars and preparing our service members for war, coordinating with our allies. So our allies aren't blindsided and we will launch a war. So again, it's not a debate over whether Iran's good or bad. I'm so tired of that ridiculous argument from MAGA and Republicans that, oh, Democrats, nobody gives a damn about the Iranian leadership. They're bad people. They've killed thousands of their people. But I'm also old enough to remember that after Desert Storm, George Bush told the Iraqi people, the southern Iraqi, the Shia Iraqis, the Shia in the southern Iraq, that this is their time to rebel. And they rebelled. You know what happened? They got slaughtered because the government still had the guns. The government still had the heavy weapons. So to say that we're going to tell the people, hey, this is your chance to rise up, how's that worked out in the past? Never. It's never worked out in the history of ever. So these constant made-up arguments trying to justify after the fact shows that no one in Washington, D.C., in the Trump administration or in the Republican Congress had any idea what they were going to do. They had no plan for the next steps. I mean, you know how much we got beat up in Iraq because there was no phase 4. For those who are familiar with military terminology, phase 4 is the first 3 phases is the invasion, taking over. The stability operations is phase 4. So after the shooting ends, we didn't actually have a phase 4 plan when we got there. It just ended and then we had to figure it out. I don't think they have a phase 2 plan for this thing. They just said bomb and then see what happens. So for me, as a person who is both a veteran and of multiple war combat tours, I did 3 tours in Iraq, I did Desert Storm, a person who's running for Congress, what I want to see is our Congress do their duty, do their constitutional duty, hold the president accountable, hold the executive branch accountable, and authorize this the way it should be authorized. So right now, Congress has completely walked away from their duty. It's shocking to watch it unfold.
I'm going to call for speculation here. I put forward 4 justifications in my opening monologue for what the Trump administration has said we're up to here. We had to do this because they're on the verge of a nuclear weapon. As SNL said, they have been on the verge of a nuclear weapon that could strike us for 15 years, apparently.
No, wait a minute. But I'm positive if you go to the White House right now, the White House website right now from June says we obliterated their nuclear weapon program, and anybody that says otherwise is a liar. Okay, it's still on their website.
I play that.
They went to war, and still on the website says that we obliterated the nuclear weapons program in June. Which is it? Were we lying?
We fired the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency for pointing out that we might not have obliterated, and therefore you can't have it both ways. You have Marco Rubio saying, "No, we did this because Israel was going to strike anyway, and therefore we had to because we were going to get hit ourselves," which has led many in MAGA world to say, "Wait a second, you mean we're Netanyahu's puppet? That's not great." You have the justification that maybe this was a Trump grudge. Maybe this is just all about his paranoid delusion that is contradicted by plain fact that somehow Iran was the reason that he lost in 2020 and they were up against him. That's a disturbing one. Fred, based on everything you've seen, what do you think is going on here? Why are we doing this?
I don't know. I mean, the fact is, we were negotiating allegedly in good faith. I'm not a fan of the idea that Witkoff and Jared Kushner were on negotiators because last time I checked, Jared Kushner is not a member of the government in any way, shape, or form. So I'm confused about that. But having that, everything we've heard is the Iranians recognize that they are in a position of weakness now, that they were losing, that the Israelis weren't afraid to bomb them now, that we weren't afraid to bomb them, and they were giving in what they wanted. It does appear that Netanyahu and Saudi Arabia, I believe, felt like their opportunity to truly end the Iranian regime was slipping through their fingers, and they pressed the issue to invade. Look, we could just take the president's own statements and Marco Rubio's own statements. We don't have to speculate anyway. Marco Rubio said that Israel is going to strike Iran and that they believe Iran would then strike American bases. Now, I see somebody in the comments saying it's perfectly legal. It's not. It is not legal. That is not the word in the War Powers Resolution. The War Powers Act is very clear. An imminent or recent an attack on the United States. Okay, not 9/11 was an attack on the United States. War Powers Act. Okay, there was no imminent threat to the United States itself unless our ally decide. Now, what would you thought? Now, look, you could call me a peacenik. You're an idiot. I went to war 4 times. The kicker of this whole story is this week. See this aircraft right here? This aircraft right here. I lost one of those 35 years ago last week. That's an OH-58 Charlie. I lost one of my air crews exactly 35 years ago in Desert Storm. Okay, I know the price of war. I know the price of the lies. And so to say we're going to send our men and women to combat without a plan, without an end goal, I don't feel that burden. I feel that burden. And so to see people trying to say, oh, you guys are just chickens. I'm not a chicken hawk. I went to war. Did you? Because I did. I lost men 35 years. So to see the same arguments 35 years later to justify an invasion when there's just not there. And so again, I want leaders who feel the burden of leadership. I want people who understand they're sending men and women into danger and they may not come back. And what have we seen since they launched this attack? That happens. War sucks. Bad things happen. War is hell. People who've never served a day in the combat, never lost a soldier, acting like it's no big whoop, pisses me off, and it should piss you off. And those military families right now who have 6 of their family members dead, who are in a damn unsecured command post. We've been at war in Ukraine. They've been at war in Ukraine for 4 years in a drone war using Iranian drones. How we were not prepared to have our command post protected from above is a sin. And between that and the F-15s getting shot down, Hegseth should be fired. This is his job, not grooming standards, not fighting wokeness, okay? Not firing general after general, like you mentioned in your opening there. They are failing their duty to serve. And that should anger. I don't care what your political spectrum is. You can't sit back. And this argument about, oh, Obama did or something, give me a freaking break. First of all, This is now. This is 2026. I don't give a damn what your arguments are over something in the history. Right now, the law is being violated by a man who has no idea what the end goal is, and a Republican Congress which goes along with everything he says and is willing to take whatever talking point they want and do it. My own opponent, Ann Wagner, within hours of this thing came out, I support the president, because you know why? She will never go against him, because she does not understand what's going to happen to our troops. And don't give me any crap about, oh, it's been successful so far. So far, okay? I remember we thought we were done when I arrived at Mosul in March. On Saddam's birthday, I drove to Mosul and we were chilling, man. I was getting flowers from the kids. It was great. But guess what? I went back 2 more times. My son-in-law went back. It was a multi-generational war in Iraq. I know where these things go. And anyone who sits back and says, oh, that's not going to happen this time, man, have I got bad news for you.